Come on, man. Fuck out of here. Come on. No one show me how to do the Hadouken.
Yo, get out! Yo, let me have the quarter, asshole.
No. Learn how to play. If you got skill, you got skill.
Yo,
you
guys know
why you always gotta use
Bison's
that?
moves?
Why you gotta use that move?
Yo, you guys know Bison's moves, bro? Yo, you guys suck, man. You guys are terrible.
Well, put up or shut up.
Bro.
Man, come on. I won the last one, though. We'll play for money next time. We'll play for money. Come on.
Dimly lit rooms. Lots of cigarettes being smoked. Pockets of quarters. And the hottest games.
Ah, yeah. The champagne room at my local strip club.
No, James. Huh? This is Monster Closet's Memory of Arcades.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I started going to the arcades, it was a little past the time when most people, would call like the golden age or the generation one of arcades. I was in around the times more of like the Street Fighters and less with the Space Invaders and Pac-Mans. I mean, we played them too, but those were kind of like the old arcade cabinets at the time when I was when we were first starting to go. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I first went there, my first places I really remember this is just going to like Fun and Games in the Willowbrook Mall. Playing maybe at the Bradley's Pizza or the Howard Johnson near my house. But honestly, the Fun and Games was my spot to go.
I would say my arcade career started in the second generation of arcade games at a long defunct place called Great Escape, which was right here in this town.
I pretty much started it used to be like a little bit of like a field trip kind of thing where I would like leave the big city in order to go to like one of the outer areas. So there was like a place like along Route 46 and right in West Patterson. Not there anymore, obviously, but yeah, huge arcade. That's pretty much where I got my big start in the late 80s. So, I mean, while I was at this arcade, my main games that I were going for, like when I first started, were like the big 4-player games, like TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, like the big 4-player machines. I would go for like stuff like Spy Hunter, and Pac-Man was kind of on the outs, but every so often you get to that when you're running out of money. I would only go in with like $5 and I'd be down to like a quarter.
What about like Gauntlet?
I never played Gauntlet. I was never really Gauntlet guy.
No.
That was I'd say Gauntlet was my only multiplayer game that I enjoyed. I was always a solo player, and I still am.
Right.
And Gauntlet was one of those games I could actually enjoy with people.
Because I remember that being like a big
'Cause it was a
4-player
co-op
game
game.
at the time. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
There was like the WWF at the time, WWE now
Oh,
wrestling
yeah.
game that was there.
That was a good
I
game.
remember that game.
Yes.
Always pick Hulk Hogan in the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, you would always end up like against the Road Warriors at the end.
Yeah. They were. Yeah, you had to pay like way too much money to get that. To do all that.
It costed all your $5.
Yeah,
But I
seriously.
mean, as time went along, my favorite games to play became like the fighting games, starting with Street Fighter 2. I mean, that was pretty much like the revolution in arcade fighting games. So between that, the big 4-player fighting game, and then like later on, like Samurai Showdown 2, those were like my big things.
Yeah.
My games were Marble Madness. I spent a lot of money, a lot of time playing Marble Madness. That was like the ultimate nerd game.
I played it a lot.
Spy Hunter. Spy Hunter was always one of my favorites. Rampage.
Oh, Rampage was awesome.
Rampage was one of my favorites. Victory
Wait,
Road.
wait. Before you go any
The
further.
Wolf. The Wolf.
Okay.
Oh,
I was
the
well,
Wolf.
Lizzie.
for life.
Of course,
Lizzie
Lizzie
for
for
life.
life.
The Wolf.
Lizzie.
No,
Okay,
she was
fine.
a girl. It couldn't have been a girl. That and Space Harrier.
Yeah.
Space Harrier. I had actually beat Space Harrier in the arcade. Okay?
beat it?
Yes.
There was an ending?
How much did that?
About $5.
Really? That's pretty
Which
solid.
was all I had back then. Which was all, and all of us really were given $5 back then. And you could
somewhere around
spend.
That seemed to be a pretty much a standard.
That was all you
Yeah.
needed, though. You had your fill after $5. Sega games generally had ending. Outrun had an ending. Afterburner had an ending. Those Sega strollers had endings. Actually.
Yeah, they
but
did.
anyway, so what were your games?
Well, I mean, typically I would say that I started off playing games like, the whole Pac-Man stuff that we started off with. That's just kind of like whet my appetite for the whole like experience of going to an arcade, kind of like watching the older kids playing some games that I really couldn't get into at the time. And then when I kind of came into my own, I guess as far as like age-wise, and had a couple more dollars, like 7 or 8 in my pocket, rather than the $5 you broke-ass motherfuckers carried with you.
It did. We made well on $5.
Well, I started playing a lot of a lot of games. I started playing like obviously Street Fighter 2 was like it's like the gateway drug of arcades at the time. But yes, that was pretty much the start. Yeah. So I mean, like James said before, that's one of my all-time favorites. I definitely play a lot of Mortal Kombat. Probably more.
I was there for it, Brian. I watched you.
Well, Mortal Kombat. Yeah, I remember like getting all amped up when like they did eventually come to consoles, which is the later part of the story. And hearing that commercial for Mortal Monday. But just really quickly to say, like, Steve knows this because he was a witness.
It was never boring to watch him play. Okay? It was exciting the whole time.
The reason why is because I was like a degenerate video game player. Like I would go home on like the first internet connection my family could afford, and try and scour the internet for like all of these like fatality codes.
What the internet was at the time, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it shows up to the arcade, just drop like a booklet.
He's got the paper with the rings on it.
I actually did. I usually have like 6 pieces of paper with all the little empty ring things on the edge of the old like printer paper. With all
he's got the box with him. He's got the office box with him. He's like,
yeah, I did. So we had all that stuff, and I used to love playing that. Like I guarantee you, like you can consider me like a master of that time because I put my 10,000 required hours.
I saw it. He's not lying.
He was a wizard.
Yeah.
He was.
What is that?
Power Glow.
Yeah, well, just keep your power glows up front, right?
Virtual On Tangram was like an awesome game. I don't know if you played that ever, but it was one of those where you sat down in it. You had like 2 control sticks.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But that is actually when I feel is like the start of the downfall of arcades is when the arcade game became more expensive and the console game became more affordable and more actual arcade perfect.
I mean, pretty much right at that point where that gap just kind of closed, where you couldn't get arcade quality games like at home. Right around that period that you just talked about, they were exactly the same game. When you're talking about stuff like Dead or Alive 2 or Virtual On, Soul Calibur, these were the exact games that you could play at home with your friends for like $300.
Yeah.
So it became less of a thing to go out and play. It kind of relegated itself to the people who only wanted fresh competition like every single time. That market just got too hardcore for itself.
I agree.
The consoles and the prices of arcades killed it. Yeah, the reason I stopped playing arcade games was because hell, I got a PC and I just sort of grew out of it. It wasn't really anything that I experienced there.
You took it a little easier though.
Absolutely, I was never quite the hardcore competitor that you guys are. You guys are definitely into the fighting games. The fighting games were never my thing. I just pressed a bunch of buttons, hope something happened.
Oh, bro, you gotta get in there, throw a couple elbows, you'll win.
Yeah, I mean,
you got
seriously.
lucky. Sometimes I would get lucky just by hitting the right buttons.
Well, you're not inept when it comes to playing video
I'm up
games.
there.
Bloodshed doesn't only have to happen on the game.
Right.
So
People tape some razor blades to their elbows.
yeah, you're playing dirty there.
Well, so what you're saying is that you just kind of lost
I grew up.
interest.
Yeah, I grew. I wasn't in the whole third generation arcade thing. Like I said, I sat back and watched you play.
Well, that was high school.
Yeah.
So I do remember you not playing as much at that time.
And of course, after that, they got expensive. They
Right.
started getting. It was right after that.
Just like we were saying.
Yeah. First it was 50, then it was 75.
Yeah.
And now I'm sure they're all like $1 if there are any, like your Dave and Buster's or whatever.
That's really like the last things that are left.
Of course, your Dave and Buster's give you a card, so you don't really know how much you're spending.
I mean, you know how much you put on the card, but then
but you don't know how
whatever.
much you're spending at a time.
At this point, a couple laps around Daytona, USA is worth $1.
Obviously, I feel that like I got even more into it at that time. Like the more realistic the game started looking, the better the graphics, like the better the music, the better everything. Like the more precise the controls, like the more it sucked me into the games. Now, obviously, I feel that like eventually, I lost interest. I would say like in the around the 2000 era, maybe like 99, in that time, like somewhere in middle of college era. I just I believe the reason for it is that like we were talking earlier, console games, caught up, and games like you were talking about, Soul Calibur and Tekken 2, I believe, or it was Tag. I'm not sure if it was Tekken 2 or Tag, but the actual home version was just superior to the arcade. So what's the point?
Yeah. Exactly.
Why would you go? Why would you go and spend your money like $20 a day if you were really into that stuff? You easily drop 20 at that point. When you can buy the home game for $50.
Say if someone's slashing you at the arcade.
Like I have a little bit of an interesting upbringing. I mean, just kind of like outside of arcade games, the places I would have to go to play those kind of games when I couldn't actually get out to the rural areas, where
areas.
Just pretty much coming from the city, I had to rely on the rely on like these convenience stores that you would have to walk in there. You'd have to walk to the back of the store. There's like some room in there. It's dang. It's next to the refrigeration. There's stuff crawling around all over the place just to play like whatever fighting games that they had. And you'd be damn lucky if any of the buttons worked on these things. And you'd find out until after.
I remember that, by the way. Like when you had to hit a button, like,
Yeah.
get up, come on,
Sound block doesn't work.
stupid button's not working. You didn't beat me because you're better.
But you had to live.
Yeah, you didn't beat me because you're better. Switch sides.
You had
Switch
to get by.
sides.
You had to
You had to
compensate.
get by.
It was
Well, you tell people they had to switch sides because like,
Andy-
no, you use this controller.
you had to deal with it.
But just going forward, I didn't fall out of favor with the arcade until probably a little later than you did, like around 2003. Specifically, I got into the whole music genre.
Yeah, you did.
I got into that huge. As soon as the first Dance Dance Revolution machine showed up, I got on that hardcore. I lost weight playing that game. Dance Dance Revolution 3rd mixed Korean version. I had that entire soundtrack locked into my head. Last time I actually played one of those was probably about a year ago. A little bit over a year ago. Just to show off to a girl. I still got
Did
it.
it actually work?
Yes and no.
Do girls actually fall for that?
I don't
Look
think
at my
I-
fancy footwear.
Certain ones do.
I don't think so. But I got sweaty.
Sweaty.
So let that be a lesson to y'all.
Now, what's happened to the arcade besides Dave and Buster's? Things like
That's
that.
the last thing that's left. I mean,
What?
and it's still a shitty
But-
family-oriented arcade like knockoff.
But listen to this, though. Okay, there's a new phenomenon. These barcades, which if you know what they're doing, they're actually combining. It's sort of a brilliant idea to combine bar arcades with craft beer serving bars.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
I actually like the idea as
It
well.
Combining
sounded
liquor
like a
with
good idea.
anything.
Yeah.
Combining liquor with anything. Combining liquor with flying planes.
Right.
Combining liquor with like shooting guns. It's a great idea.
Hey kids, liquor is great. That's good shit.
But unfortunately, the where they generally are, they tend to be frequented by the young urban hipster type of people, which a lot of these people weren't even born yet when a lot of these games came out.
I mean, I agree with you that yes. I
Yes,
feel like
these
the
kids
idea
aren't
was-
playing these games because of nostalgic value.
No.
Like I said, like we would see, like, oh my god, it's Spy Hunter. Actually, they had a copy of Spy Hunter. They had a Spy Hunter cabinet, and the wheel didn't work. The wheel was stuck to the left, and that pissed me off so much. I like the idea of an arcade that's going to be nostalgic without the pretentiousness.
Right, agreed.
Like we're like us original geeky people that aren't trying to be cool. We just want to play Spy
Yeah.
Hunter again like we did back
Yeah,
then.
of course.
We can be ourselves and not have to dress in tight jeans or something.
What I'm saying is, I agree with Steve, and I think that it would be a great place to go hang out.
Yeah.
Without the pretentiousness.
Without the pretentiousness.
Without like the fake, hipster wannabe assholes.
Yes.
Like if there was a place actually like a regular arcade. Are you yelling at our fans, calling them pretentious
There's
hipster
one right there. You
wannabe
see him?
assholes?
Look, you see him?
Oh
right
wait,
there.
oh
he
wait,
goes.
there he is.
There he
Hey.
is. He's running.
Hey.
Yeah, go. Yeah.
Hey.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank
Bye bye.
you.
So yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think that I would be. I would actually still like go to a place like that if I ever had free time.
Yeah. Like, bring back the old days.
Yeah, I would.
Arcade date. Monster Closet.